Hello and welcome. You're joining us today on the studios of PAC 14 to hear a MAC moment. We're going to be talking today about issues of nutrition and malnutrition. I'm Patty Tingle, your host, the Executive Director of MAC Incorporated, and joining me today is Carla Beardsley, the Registered Dietitian at MAC and Director of the Nutrition Services. Welcome, Carla.
Oh, it's great to be here, Patty.
So tell us, we've heard a lot about population health here in recent days, and there's a new initiative at MAC that's beginning to take a look at the issue of malnutrition. And when we talk about malnutrition, we're focusing specifically on malnutrition as it relates to seniors. Share with us a little bit about what's going on.
We are recognizing that when a person becomes malnourished, they basically can't do what they used to do in terms of keeping their strength to help themselves. So malnutrition is a downward slide, and if it's not addressed, a person can actually die from malnutrition. We also know that with malnutrition, there's an increase of risk for falls. A person has an increased risk for not healing in terms of an illness or might be an injury. There's an increased risk for the concept of not being able to treat or heal themselves from their chronic disease, whether it's hypertension, diabetes, anything that's related to their condition is worse when they're not eating properly. And it's more than a situation of not just having food. There might be some other variables in there that are causing the malnutrition. Sometimes persons just don't have an appetite. And this is what we're seeing in our elderly folks, is that sometimes they're not getting better because they're not able to take in what they should.
Okay, so we're talking about malnutrition as it relates to seniors. And when we think about seniors, I think about my mother. She's in her home by herself. There's groceries in the cupboards. There's food in the refrigerator. How would I know if she's actually malnourished?
There's a lot of variables that we can look at, and it's not blood work in that sense. But when we screen an individual, the screening includes looking at their dentition, whether they can eat the food in terms of if the meat is too tough, they're not going to be able to get the proteins they need because they can't chew well. We also look at the fact that maybe they don't have the strength to stand at the stove. Maybe they're so weak from their malnourished condition they can't prepare that meal. Other situations might be where when we look at a malnourished person, they actually they don't have the food because they haven't the ability to get to the store to get what they need and to know what they need and tell an individual to go shopping for them. Sometimes that's difficult.
So I may have my mother who's at home by herself, and when I talk to her and we have our conversation, how's your day, how are things, did you eat lunch, did you eat dinner, and she says yes. What'd you have? She had a sandwich.
So you might want to say, Mom, did you finish the sandwich? And again, small meals are acceptable. We oftentimes encourage people when they have poor eating habits, when called poor, meaning that they're not sufficient to nourish them, but perhaps that person needs to eat more often. So a lot of times we recommend healthy snacks between meals. We also look at the fact that a person needs to have fluid. And we caution them about drinking before meals. If they drink a big glass of water before they eat, they're not going to have the appetite for that meal. So there's a lot of variables. When we ask somebody what they ate, they said they had a sandwich. That's adequate. Perhaps they need to know, well, what did you have after the meal? Or we look at what was on the sandwich. Perhaps there's just butter and sugar on that sandwich. So we could ask more questions, but we certainly don't want to look at them and say you're not eating healthy, you need to do better, because for the most part they're doing the best they can.
So if I hear that she's eaten just a sandwich, maybe I should get her some multivitamins.
That's not always the best idea either. I think a physician should recommend multivitamins for someone. At our point in medicine right now, we're not recommending multivitamins for everybody who is older. That should come from a physician. Sometimes they get too much of some nutrients, especially a multivitamin that has over 100% of all the vitamins and minerals they need.
Carla, if I'm trying to understand nutrition, for instance, my mother's eating a sandwich, and that may or may not be good for her, what is a good recommended meal?
Well, a meal is basically something that you actually would want to eat, number one, but a meal should contain a source of protein. It should contain vitamins and minerals from, we would say, fruits and vegetables, and then we also include calcium in the form of milk, and maybe vitamin C in the form of juice. So there are certain minerals and vitamins that should be in a meal. Sometimes a meal should have 5 food groups in it, and those food groups, again, were those that I listed, but the portions can be small. This is an illustration, Patty, of what we serve in our home-delivered meals, and we have a vegetable, and it doesn't necessarily have to be green, but all vegetables have nutrients. We have a fruit, and this is peaches, and then we have protein in the turkey, and the grain is the stuffing. We also have a roll. This is what the home-delivered meal person would get, as well as the fruit and milk. And so that's a very healthy meal because it's 1/3 of the recommended daily allowance for an individual of that age. So that would be the best meal you could get, but again, small meals can also be beneficial. And when you make a small meal, try to include 2 food groups. Sometimes think of your hands. So your palm should include the protein, and the other palm should include a grain or starch. Your fingers include the fruit and the vegetables. And then we could think of the fluid being your milk and water. So look at your hands and plan your meals with the portions that you would see in those 5 food groups. But again, those are large food, those are normal portion sizes that we have in our hands. And that person might not be able to eat that much at that time. So small portions with a variety of foods make good meals.
So I've heard that as you age, if there is value in vitamins, the absorption in vitamins for seniors is not as good.
That's right. We recognize that as the body gets older, its ability to absorb the nutrients in the body or in the food might not be the same as it was when they were younger. That's one of the issues as far as what the body is doing. We also know that sometimes the food they eat, it's not adequate in terms of the chewing ability to get enough calories in, as well as the vitamins and minerals.
You speak of calories and vitamins now. Is there an optimal number of calories for a senior?
Yes, according to our books, which come from the dietary guidelines and also the American Dietetic Association, proclaims that we should be giving generally a senior about 2,000 calories if they're a male a day, and a female should be about 200 calories less a day, 1,800. A lot of times calorie levels are dependent on how much activity the person has. So that calorie level would be for an active person. Now, if somebody is sitting most of the time or bedridden, they wouldn't need as many calories. There are times in life, though, such as when a person is malnourished and they are bedridden, they need more than that. They need more protein, they need fluid to digest that protein. So in the realm of somebody who's healing or bedridden, muscle loss is extreme, and that's what we're working with as far as getting their nutritional status up so they get their strength back.
I see a lot of products when I go to the store that tout vitamins and liquid nutrition and instead of a meal. How does that fit into this notion of malnourished?
Sometimes those are actually easier for the senior to prepare and grab, and they will eat or drink that versus the meal that they have to get ready. So we like to recommend that the diet include both if necessary. First line is always to get the vitamins and minerals and nutrients from food, and then we can go to what we call oral nutritional supplements. And these supplements do have advantages in that they can nourish a person with smaller volume. So again, I would recommend looking at both of those supplements. Meal replacements, that might happen too. It's better than nothing.
We've been freely talking today about seniors, but we have seen an evolution to our aging population, and when we refer to seniors, we're referring to the 55 plus senior. But we know that today's seniors are also those individuals who are 90 plus. Is there a difference when it comes to malnourishment for that age group?
Yes. Malnourishment actually happens more to people who are over 65 when we're looking at age. The muscle loss is extreme after age 65 in a lot of individuals. The body just starts to lose its muscle tone and has to do extra to build that, as well as most people slow down so they don't get their exercise as well as their food, because the appetite goes along with the exercise. Many people also in their chronic disease life, so to speak, that chronic disease that they have will bring their health down quicker than if they were not sick with the malnourishment problem as well.
We've talked a lot about what it means to be malnourished and how malnourishment can happen. How do I detect that in my family member?
One of the variables we can look at is how much weight a person has lost in a period of time. So for example, if a person has lost 10 pounds in the past 6 months, that is significant. Another variable would be how much or whether or not they can chew. We also look at that as a variable to see if they're able to take in the calories. When we look at other variables, we could actually measure a person's loss in muscle by doing what we call a skin fold check with how much they have in terms of fat. We can also look at the measurements around their legs. We can look at the size of their leg muscle and determinants. We call this a trifold skin test, and this will tell if they actually have lost their muscle. So we can look at those variables which are both subjective, and we can also measure, and we can look at what the person is eating. We can take a history of what they're eating and know if they're getting enough nourishment.
If I'm listening to this conversation today, I may be thinking, I'm eating well, I'm not eating a lot. Could I be malnourished? How would I tell?
First of all, I would recommend going to the physician and having blood work done. The blood work is a big indicator, especially if the person is getting better or worse. That's number one. And again, a record of weight to look at if you've lost weight and didn't intend to lose weight. That's very, very important. If you have, for example, lost your appetite, if the appetite at meals is diminished, wake up. Know that there should be a concern there.
Okay. And you're at MAC.
Mm-hmm.
I have just had my annual physical with the doctor. I may have a concern. Can I call you?
Oh, yes, definitely.
How do I reach you?
The MAC number is the 410-742-0505, and my extension is 144. And if you call MAC, just ask for the registered dietitian, and they will put you to my phone, and I'll be glad to call you back.
Great. Carla, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been good to hear that there is a resource available to us to find out more information about our diet, nutrition, and I understand MAC also has exercise programs.
Yes, the exercise programs are geared to each individual, and you get a personal trainer. So again, we don't want people to just start off and injure themselves. So personal training, learning the machines, learning skills that are taught in the gym need to happen before someone ventures on their exercise plan. So again, we guide the individuals at MAC with one-on-one attention so that they can be independent as they come to MAC and use the services.
Great. I can call MAC. I can talk to you about my concerns about nutrition.
Yes.
And if I have concerns about muscle tone or muscle loss, sounds like you can also connect me with your gym department and connect me to the right person to improve my muscle tone.
Yes.
Great.
We will definitely guide you through the whole way to get stronger. Stronger means independent. Stronger means being happier. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Carla.
Right.
We're glad you were
be
able to be here today. And if you have questions again for Carla or anyone at MAC, the telephone number is 410-742-0505. Joining us now in the studio is Mark Welsh. Mark, welcome.
Thank you.
And we're glad to have you here today. You're here to talk to us about a special event coming up to support MAC called the St. Patty's Day Race.
Yes, we're having our 18th race this year. We started it 18 years ago, and it was originally started to benefit the Alzheimer's Association. But probably about 7 or 8 years ago, we transitioned it over to MAC, and we've been very happy with that decision. MAC has been very supportive of the race, and all the benefits go to MAC.
Mark, you've been with this effort for about 18 years. Tell us more about that.
Yes, we started the race 18 years ago, and I've been the race director for the past 18 years. And I've had a wonderful group of core volunteers that have been with me that entire time.
In looking at your race team, if we can call them that, what's involved in getting ready for an event like this?
Logistically, there's a lot of work, but probably the hardest part of it is the day of race. The logistics involved in getting the volunteers out on the course. The course is actually not held at MAC. It's held in the city park, and you would come to the Elks Club, and if you're pre-registered, you pick up your package, or you can register the day of. The race starts promptly at 3 o'clock, and it's held 100% at the park. And then afterwards, you come back to the Elks Club, get the race results, and there's all kind of different fun games and auctions and live auctions and different things going on. And then we have the results, and then we also have a 50-50 at the end too. That's another big thing. So that's really the logistics of the race, and that's really the complicated part. Now there is a lot of behind-the-scenes things that go on, as you know, Patty, because this is your first year involved with us at the race. We started planning in November, and then we've had meetings in December and January and February, and we'll have them all the way up to pretty much the day of the race. After 18 years, things do get easier. You have a lot of great sponsors who continue to sponsor us. But I think with the core group of volunteers I have, it makes it a lot easier, and we all have our roles and jobs that we do. But over the years, we've also added some really great volunteers, and that's where MAC has really come into play. They really have helped us get some really good volunteers. And I think right now, in year 18, we probably have our best core group of volunteers we've ever had.
So this St. Patty's Day race is not just a race, it's a multifaceted event.
Mm-hmm.
And in your event, is everyone invited to participate? Is this only for runners? Can I bring my family? How does this work?
Well, yes. First of all, it is a run, and there is timing. And so if people want to race for time, and we have prizes for, first, second, and third for each age group. We also have walkers can participate. We have a walkers division. So you have those two things. The third thing would be volunteers. We always can use volunteers, especially on the course. If you can walk out somewhere on the course and you can point your finger and encourage people, we welcome them to come out. So there's 3 ways that you can participate
So
in the
I
race.
can run, I can walk, or I can volunteer.
That's correct.
Okay. And in thinking about this event, when is this event?
It's actually on the day after the real St. Patty's Day race. It's Saturday, September 18th. As I stated before, it starts promptly at 3 o'clock. We would like people to get there as 2 o'clock if they could. That way, if they're pre-registered, they could pick up their package, warm up. If they need to register day of, we definitely would like you there as close to 2 as possible, because the race will go off promptly at 3 o'clock.
Now you've been talking about your team coming together and doing some advanced planning, and I understand that even as you're starting to promote the event, you have a number of registrants already. So these are people who have been in this event before and they know it and they like it. So you're at a count of, did you tell me 44
I heard
participants?
we're at 44, and we haven't even sent out the brochures yet or put any posters up. So I would guess if I was to look at the names, they're probably people that have been, involved in this race for many years, and they just kind of know, all right, this is where I go to sign up. Now, you want to tell the audience where they can sign up at MAC? I mean, how they go about doing it?
Well, if you're coming to MAC, you can do so with Cindy Robinson, and she is at the main MAC office Monday through Fridays. You can do online registrations through the MAC website, www.macinc.org, or find the link there to the registration. For more information about the event and anything that you may not have heard today or you might have missed, you can call us at 410-742-0505, and we'd be happy to answer any of your questions. Now, Mark, when we're looking at this course, how long is this course if I'm thinking about being a participant?
Well, if you're going to run it, it's 3.1 miles. It's what they call a 5K. And if you're going to walk, it's approximately 2 miles. And it's cut a little bit short. So really, in theory, with runners running 3.1 and walkers walking 2.5, they're probably going to finish around together. And then, like I said earlier, we have a nice after-race party, and people really enjoy that. And I think some people actually enjoy the after-race party than they do actually the event, the running event or walking event myself. That's what I think.
And is there a cost to being a part of this event?
Well, if you pre-register, it's $25.
Okay.
Day of race, it's $35.
Okay.
So it's really you can save money if you pre-register, and we just said you can register right now online. And you know what's really interesting is that when we first started this 18 years ago, nobody registered online. We didn't have online. People would actually fill out the brochure and mail it in. Now I would say we probably got something like 75% or higher now register online. So it's so easy. They just go online, they register, they can pay online, and they're done.
So it sounds like a really great event. Can you tell me a little bit about how you've been so successful over the last 18 years, or you've generated some dollars? How has that worked?
Well, I think what I'm really proud about is the fact that how much of the net proceeds go to the beneficiary MAC. We have a very low cost to run this. Almost everything we do is either volunteered or the sponsors have given us things. We have very little out-of-pocket costs when you consider how much the race produces. I would say the last 3 years we have probably averaged net going back to MAC around $14,000. That's net. So, like I said, we're a lean and mean, volunteer committee, and we try to keep the cost down because we want as much of the proceeds to benefit MAC as we can.
And you have some wonderful partners, and I know in both our business community and in our civic community with the Elks Club. And the City of Salisbury even does support this event through the approval of your course and how that comes together. MAC certainly appreciates all the work that your group does, and the proceeds are used towards benefiting those who are diagnosed with Alzheimer's and their families, and bringing caregiver support to life. And through those services at MAC, everyone wants to say thank you so much for all that you do and the extra effort that you're putting into this year's event. We certainly know that this is not something that is just thought about today and done tomorrow. It does take great planning, and to be committed for 18 years, what's that for you, like for you as a volunteer?
It's I take great pride in it. You know, when you start something, you don't realize that 18 years later you're still doing it, and I see the impact that it has on people. When I'm out in the public during non-St. Patty's Day, you know, race, it's amazing how many people know me from the event and know and they know that MAC is a beneficiary and they look forward to it. Um, I'd be afraid to like tell people that we're stopping. So, you know, right now we have, you know, even though we're 18 years, we don't have, you know, we're going to continue to go as long as the volunteers are committed to it, and I don't see any breakdown in that right now. So, you know, we could be here over the next 10 years, Patty, talking about the St. Patty's Day race, and that would be fine with me.
And I would look forward to that. That would be great. So remind us again, when is the event, where is the event, and what time?
Okay, well, it is Saturday, March 18th. The race starts promptly at 3 o'clock. If you're pre-register, it's at 2. So we suggest that you get there as close to 2 as possible. Get yourself registered. Race starts at 3, and the after party after the race, and then it's going to be held at the Elks Club is where you go, and the race itself is held at the city park.
Great. Good information. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to give us a call at MAC. The number is 410-742-0505, or visit our website at www.macinc.org. Thank you, Mark, for being here today. We certainly appreciate you sharing this information, and we look forward to seeing you on March 18th.
I do too. Thank you.
And I understand you have a new honorary chair?
Yes, Patty, there's a new honorary chair this year. Morgan Hazel has agreed to be the honorary chair for the 18th annual event, and we're very welcome to have him aboard.
He's known here in the Salisbury area to be very supportive of our community. His family has been supportive through the history with the Pepsi company that we have had, and he has his new ventures, but he's going to actually kick off this event this year?
That's my understanding. He's going to be there the day of the event, and that there's been a rumor that he may actually lead us in some exercises to promote his new gym. And so we're looking forward to that. It'll be interesting, and you know, Morgan Hazel comes from a very charitable family, and he's graciously agreed to help us, and so we're looking forward to it.
Sounds like an exciting day. We're looking forward to being a part of that and seeing everyone there.
Yes, thank you.
We've been joined today by two guests, Carla Beardsley, our registered dietitian at MAC, and Mark Welsh, who is our champion for the St. Patty's Day race coming up March 18th. We're certainly glad you joined us today. This has been a MAC Moment. I'm Patty Tingle, your host. Please look back and see us again in the future as we bring you more information as relates to seniors and maintaining active citizens.